From Pacifica, this is Democracy Now! Bradley Manning in his own words. Today, we air a leaked audio recording of the imprisoned Army whistleblower who gave WikiLeaks hundreds of thousands of pages of classified documents. This is the first time his voice has been heard publicly since he was arrested nearly 3 years ago. This recording was surreptitious at his hearing last month, so listen carefully.
I believe that the general public, especially the American public, had access to the information contained within the Sydney I and Sydney A tables. This could spark a domestic debate on the role of the military and our foreign policy in general, as well as related to Iraq and Afghanistan.
We'll air extended excerpts of Bradley Manning's words and speak with Pentagon Papers whistleblower Daniel Ellsberg. Then we look at Afghanistan, where 2 U.S. troops were killed at a special operations base Monday, just days after Afghan President Hamid Karzai condemned the United States, while Secretary of Defense Chuck Hagel made his first visit to Afghanistan. Then secrecy in Washington. While President Obama's claimed he oversees the most transparent administration in history, the government's increasingly censoring or withholding material from the public, citing the need to protect national security and internal deliberations. All that and more coming up. Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. The head of a United Nations commission investigating abuses in Syria says violence has spread so vastly that the, quote, civilian space is almost completely eroded. Paulo Sergio Pinheiro said the commission has been gathering evidence about 20 massacres that have taken place in Syria. Another commission member said both sides in the conflict between President Bashar al-Assad and the anti-Assad rebels are committing war crimes, but that it seems government authorities are, quote, involved more in regard to crimes against humanity. The UN Refugee Agency, meanwhile, has warned the number of refugees outside Syria could triple by the end of 2013 if the nearly 2-year conflict isn't resolved. The 1 millionth Syrian refugee was registered last week. Monday marked the deadliest day for U.S. troops in Afghanistan after 7 soldiers perished in 2 separate incidents, the deadliest day this year. 5 U.S. service members were killed in a helicopter crash outside Kandahar city. Hours earlier, 2 U.S. soldiers were shot dead in a so-called insider attack at a special operations site in Wardak province when a person in an Afghan military uniform turned his gun on U.S. and Afghan forces. 3 Afghan police officers and 2 Army officers were also killed in the attack, according to a senior police official. Brigadier General Gunther Katz of the International Security Assistance Force, or ISAF, described the attack.
What I can confirm is that today in Wardak, a Afghan wearing the uniform of the Afghan National Security Forces shot ISAF and ANSF soldiers. 2 of our ISAF soldiers were killed, a couple others were wounded, and there were other casualties amongst the members of the Afghan forces as well.
Monday's attack occurred in Wardak as a deadline expired for U.S. Special Forces to leave the province. President Hamid Karzai had set the deadline over allegations concerning the disappearances of 9 villagers. North Korea says it has unilaterally scrapped the 60-year-old armistice that ended the Korean War amid escalating tensions over ongoing U.S.-South Korea military drills. North Korea has issued threats of an attack against the United States and has severed its hotline with South Korea. In return, the Obama administration has issued new sanctions and warnings. Obama's national security advisor, Tom Donilon, spoke to the Asia Society in New York.
North Korea's claims may be hyperbolic, but as to the policy of the United States, there should be no doubt. We will draw upon the full range of our capabilities to protect against and respond to the threat posed to us by North Korea and to us and our allies by North Korea. That includes not only any North Korean use of weapons of mass destruction, but also, as the President has made clear, their transfer of nuclear weapons or nuclear materials to any other state or non-state entities. Such actions would be considered a grave threat to the United States and our allies, and we will hold North Korea fully accountable for the consequences.
In his remarks, Tom Donilon also called for China to stop hacking U.S. companies. It was the first time the Obama administration's publicly confronted China over allegations its military is behind cyber attacks on U.S. firms and government agencies. China's denied the claims and accused the U.S. of routinely hacking its military websites. Donilon called for China to adhere to, quote, acceptable norms of behavior in cyberspace.
Increasingly, U.S. businesses are speaking out about their serious concerns about sophisticated, targeted theft of confidential business information and proprietary technologies through cyber intrusions emanating from China at a very large scale. The international community cannot afford to tolerate such activity from any country.
The Colorado State Senate's approved a package of gun control measures, bringing the state one step closer to enacting some of the nation's toughest gun laws. The measures include universal background checks, a limit on the size of ammunition magazines, and a requirement that domestic abusers surrender their guns. Meanwhile, in Washington, D.C., at least 13 people were injured, one critically, in a drive-by shooting Monday. And in Chicago, a 6-month-old baby girl was shot in another drive-by. Jonala Watkins and her father, Jonathan Watkins, were shot while he was changing her diaper in a parked minivan. The baby underwent surgery and is in critical condition. A candlelight vigil for a 16-year-old boy shot dead by police in Brooklyn, New York, turned into a raucous protest Monday as residents expressed their outrage over the killing of Kimani Gray. Riot police packed the streets while some residents reportedly broke car windows, looted a pharmacy, and threw bottles at police. At least one person was hospitalized. City Council member Jumaane Williams said, quote, "There's a lot of anger here. This isn't just from one particular shooting. A whole community has not been heard for far too long," he said. A new report says the New York Police Department's effort to spy on Muslim Americans have had a chilling effect on freedom of speech and religion. A coalition of civil liberties groups says NYPD surveillance of Muslim student groups and mosques across the Northeast silence activism and religious expression as individuals attempted to, quote, refrain from appearing overtly Muslim to avoid triggering surveillance. Soheed Amin with the Brooklyn College Islamic Society spoke at a news conference Monday.
We Muslims are not asking for any special treatment. We are asking to be treated the same. We are asking for us to be able to look at the NYPD as our protectors, not as people who bring terror to us and make us terrified of living here and dealing with them and speaking with even our own Muslim brothers and sisters.
In the latest protest against the Keystone XL oil pipeline, 25 people were arrested after handcuffing themselves together inside a TransCanada office in Westboro, Massachusetts. More than 100 students, mothers, and clergy members staged a funeral for our future, saying TransCanada's pipeline would spur devastating climate change, pollution, and potential spills.
They are digging us a hole. They are digging us a hole. 6 feet underground where the pipeline will go.
The Keystone XL pipeline would carry tar sands crude from Canada to Texas. A decision from President Obama on the project is expected soon after a State Department review found it does not pose a serious threat to the environment. The South Dakota governor has enacted a measure extending the state's waiting period for abortion, which is already one of the longest in the country. Under the new law, weekends and holidays will be excluded from South Dakota's 72-hour waiting period. That means some women will have to wait up to 6 days for an abortion. A New York Supreme Court judge has struck down Mayor Michael Bloomberg's ban on large-sized sugary drinks, calling the rules arbitrary and capricious. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. We'll go to a short break, and then we will return. Stay with us. Thanks so much for watching this report from Democracy Now!, your daily independent global news hour. We don't accept advertising or corporate funding, but rather rely on donations from viewers like you. Please make your contribution by visiting democracynow.org. We need your support today to keep bringing you this hard-hitting, in-depth reporting.